Hello, Jody
Hey,
Raynsford.
David Hellard, with
How you doing?
exactly the same background as you had before. No, it's not quite the same, is it?
New house, different grey ward as such.
Yeah.
Yeah. Haven't got a
I
coat rack for a change.
I don't I like I miss the wardrobe being slightly open and exposing all of all of your stuff in there. The slight crack in the door where Briggsy kind of flits to or from, and then you've also got a Liège poster on the wall.
We've got nothing up yet. It will happen. It's weird. We've moved in, but we've not had a single proper evening together
Oh,
until
really?
this week.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
because she's been on a hen do. Then she went away
How long
skiing.
was that hen do?
Yeah, wow. Yeah. In how she's ruined, you'd think it was a week. But she went skiing the first weekend she was away for work or something when I moved us in. So actually, we've not had a time at home yet. But look at these puppies.
Oh, my God.
We've
Oh, my God. Who has postcards made up when they're moving in? That's incredible. Hey, what sort of area are you hoping to cover? How many are there? So, we're leafleting the entire postcode.
So we've moved to this street in Peckham, and I've made 100 flyers just because that was a round number. It was 50 or 100, and I thought, why not? And I'm also going to flyer the people opposite our back garden because one of them
Good idea.
one of them's got a jacuzzi, one of them looks like they've got a pizza oven. And so they are people we want to be friends with. So yeah,
and then when you've got kids, stuff that's flying over onto their back garden, you need to make sure that you're in with them.
Yeah, we've already adopted a football that's come in from somewhere, and given that our neighbours on either side are in their 70s and 80s, I don't think it's them. So yeah, this is going out. I love.
Wait a minute, I love your choice. Is that what run was that?
That was the Croatian wine run. So do that. I've got a picture of me and Briggsy, 2/3 of a postcard. Her dressed as a sexy fairy. Actually, and me dressed as a sexy fairy.
Yeah, exactly. Don't put yourself down there. As fairies go, you're pretty sexy.
But colour all over us, face paint all over us. I've got my hair dyed in the rainbow colours. So we're going to hand those out. And I was just walking back today from the train station on our street thinking, wow, imagine what this walk's going to be like once they've all seen the flyer. Like, everyone's going to be like, hey, oh, hey, Susan, how you doing? Oh, hey, John, what's happening? Going to be the most popular kid in school.
See, the thing is, I love the idea of that. I love the idea of that. But handing out 100 flyers, like on our road or something, well, there's not even 100 houses on our road, but you hand 100 flyers and thinking there's at least 2 people in each house. That's 200 names for me to forget in embarrassing ways. It's just all I am doing is I'm multiplying my anxiety around the. I've known people for years and years and years, and I forget their name while I'm stood next to them, having talked to them.
David.
Yeah, David. Do you know what?
David.
I've never forgotten your name. Never. I think you're one of the few people whose name I don't forget, mainly because I probably speak to you more than anyone apart from my wife. That's about it. And probably slightly more.
Your wife and your doctor, I'd say as well.
My doctor.
But yeah, I'll report back on whether this works. So listeners,
have you done it before? Have you ever flyed neighbours before?
Well, previously I moved into a flat in Brixton where it's just flats. There's no one really has a house, and so it's quite different if you've got a pile of flyers on the floor of a shared communal space to if someone puts it in your actual own letterbox. So but I'll report back in case do-badders moving in the future want to do it.
It's a good idea. It's better that I when we've moved in places before, some people have been really nice and they've come across and they've like given us a bottle of wine and they said hello, stuff like that. And noticeably, there's like everyone in our road when we moved was like really nice, apart from the people directly opposite us who Libby was trying to get me. Like, so Libby thinks like I'm a fundamentally unkind person because the guy was when we moved in. It was Christmas. Because when we moved in, it was Christmas, and he was putting up his lights, and it wouldn't even occur to me to do this. I didn't go and offer to help him. I was like, I would absolutely fucking hate it if I was putting up the lights, which I would never do.
It's almost patronising, isn't it?
It is patronising. It's like going,
yeah.
You don't look capable, because they're older than us. They're like 20 years older than us. I like, you do not look capable, so I've come over to help you. That's
do they suffer from dwarfism? Is that because that would be a different proposition?
No, they don't suffer from dwarfism.
Okay.
No, not at all.
Okay.
No, but they are fundamentally unfriendly. But I don't know whether that's because I didn't go and offer to help with their putting. It's all the politics. When you start living on a different road and stuff, you don't know what the politics are until you get it.
Politics.
Like Libby's parents, they are on a road where most of the parking is on the street, but there's like this unwritten rule that you park outside your own house, and if someone then parks outside your house and takes your space, which is not your space because it's a public space, then all hell breaks loose. Do you take someone
else's and cause everyone havoc, or do you go to another street?
Well, exactly. But whenever I park there, I just park anywhere I want, badly, because I know that it winds everyone up on that road. And normally parking in the wrong direction is looked down upon on that road, that everyone has to park like, and it's like, oh man. So
you're reversing in every time down the wrong way.
Reversing in the wrong way, 45-degree angle out. Yeah, exactly. Oh no! Wow, politics, man, around the household. That's incredible.
I've started running around here. I've started exploring.
Oh yeah, how does that feel? How does that feel? What's the vibe?
It's good. Yeah, I mean, it's strange how I'm only 3 miles from where I was, but just by the nature of starting from a different position, you kind of approach the area from a different angle, and so suddenly I'm actually running in places that I would have never run, even though I was 3 miles ago and would do 20-mile runs, because you head to like a big park, you head to the woods.
Yeah, absolutely. That's weird. Yeah, that's absolutely true, isn't it? In London, like you are, depending on where you are, there's a gravitational pull towards open areas and areas that you know, and sometimes then you look at the map and you go, why have I never run that way round or something? Because it's just never felt like the normal intuitive way to go. Like if there was a like when there's like a river or a lake or something, it feels natural and intuitive to head towards that and run around that. Or I don't know, it's funny, isn't it?
Yeah, and I've managed to find on my first medium-sized run, so I'm up to 11 miles now. And actually, I went out today and I took a caffeine bullet, started running, maybe a bit too quick. After 4 miles, I was already like, oh my God, my legs are dead, because I've forgotten that if you run quite a few days in a row and not used to it, your body just gets beaten up. But yeah, on this run, I found a track 3 miles away, and I found this cool park where in the middle of the park is a little bit of a river, and it has a circular bridge that you can run up that goes over the river and down the other side, all contained within the park. Really? So that has got to be the coolest Strava segment. Is someone, because you'd want to run the whole park, and you can just do that, but I don't know how it would. I don't know if your satellite could deal with it and figure out that this is actually a double corkscrew one on each side. So I'm desperate to get fit and to go down there and then start blitzing around it and just see if there are any segments to pick up.
So yeah, because I don't know anything about Strava because I've never used it and stuff like that. But do you after a while, because you can go to a new area, is it like I'm trying to realize who the champion is in this area? I need to get to know who the usual suspects are. Who it's like discovering a new nemesis.
But even actually, now's the time when you're coming back to fitness. That's the time typically when you'll go looking for segments, because once you're fit, you're then probably following a training plan, which means you're not going to go and just run a 300 meters down a hill on a Tuesday, because actually you're meant to be doing a certain number of intervals. You're doing a tempo run, and actually your faster runs are a marathon pace, which isn't that quick compared to someone who's just doing a 400 meter sprint. So yeah, on when you're getting back to fitness, that's where I find is really motivating to look around and be like, right, what can I actually achieve today, rather than just feeling a bit slow and just seeing what's around. But I'm in a bit of a gap of running clubs. There doesn't seem to be anyone's near me that I can easily get to. So yeah, I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure. But I hear you've had some good news related to not your running, but your insurance.
Do you know what? When we talked about it, I was like, oh God, now we talked about this, we're going to get a bunch of fucking vultures, aren't we? Who are going to go, wait, here we go, here's an opportunity.
Are you describing them as a vulture?
No, I wasn't. No, I'm not necessarily describing them as a vulture. I just, yeah, I thought there might be, just like thoughtless, spamming of whatever. Yeah. But yes, I do appreciate the fact that some people have messaged us at Letters at Bad Boy Running, offering
you're not going to read them out. I think that's.
Well, what's there to read out? What is there to read out? There's not. It's basically, yeah, we reckon we could do it. They all say they reckon they can do it until it comes to the nitty gritty. Until it comes to the. But the thing is, part of me's going, well, why do it now? Why do it now? Because you're tied into a 5-year term minimum. And they judge it on BMI and the fact that you got gout and all these other things. Why don't I wait till my BMI is back to a normal level, and then get it then? Because you're kind of your price is going to be locked in on what you are when you're doing it. It doesn't work like health insurance.
Isn't the reason why you lock it in now because we both know that BMI ain't going down, my friend. It's only going as much as we can say, and we can be like, hey,
BMI, it has to go down. It's like, I don't understand how the BMI could have gone higher like a year ago, and then like the BMI went, oh, I can go higher, my friend.
I can tell.
And then and I'm like, wow, BMI, that's quite impressive. But yeah, the BMI, I think is at a level that is unsustainable. I don't even understand how I've managed to sustain it at that level. But I think it's already
impressive as anything. Is that what you're saying?
It's impressive. I think I should be given a reward for it. But no, it is.
I think the trouble is you've been giving yourself too many rewards.
Too many. Well, it is coming. It's coming down naturally. Like, I don't understand how. I don't know. You probably don't know this. You probably don't know. Like sometimes you don't ever. You know when you've got a wardrobe full of clothes, and you've got 100 pieces. I mean, I don't have 100 pieces of things. A wardrobe full of clothes, but you only have an active wardrobe of like 3 pieces of clothes, like I do, and like all of my clothes.
You include pants in this?
I do. I'm wearing a pair of. Right, this is a different story. I'll go on to the story because this is classic Raynsford Christmas shenanigans. But no, I have an active wardrobe of about 3 pieces of clothing, which is basically my shorts. It used to be my Birkenstocks, but I've stopped wearing my Birkenstocks because of my feet. Because I'm being barefoot at home and barefoot as much as possible. So, but it's basically shorts, this, and I cycle through 3 or 4 t-shirts and stuff. But they're all really baggy. So Libby always goes on about how I've never left university, basically. And you look at me and you meet me and you've
never left the 90s.
I've never left the 90s. Who wanted to? That was a great time, man. We all appreciate how much the 90s meant at the moment. But all of that's really baggy. And so because you're not using the rest of the wardrobe, you don't realise just how much weight you're putting on and how you wore these pair of jeans and stuff. Because I've not had to wear a pair of jeans for a long, long time. But you wear a pair of jeans and you're like, oh, they were quite baggy before. They were quite, I was even thinking of getting rid of them because they were a little bit too baggy. And now you can't even put them on. I'm like, fucking hell. Like, how much weight have I put on? Like this is...
Have you got one of those, do you know when you get on the plane and they have an extra belt that clips
no, it's not that
belts? Have you got one of those?
Imagine asking for that. Excuse me, can I have an extra belt, please? Or do you think they just leave the extra belt there, knowing that you're going to need it? Because that's really embarrassing. Like, bing, hi, can I have the extra belt bit? Because I can't do that. Or do you think they just
There must have been a family that's got on before where they've been like, oh crap, we're gonna need more belts.
We're gonna need a bigger belt.
Well, I've had that on a boat when we're in the Amazon, where they asked people to move like left and right based on their weights. But do you think that could happen on a plane? Say you've got
it's weird, isn't it?
A basketball team traveling, or an American football team traveling, and they've all booked one side of the plane. Would that, like, how heavy would you have to be? Anyway, we're digressing. So yes,
I want to tell you. Wait a minute, before we go on, I'm telling you that I'm wearing a pair of Libby's tracky bottoms, and there's so every Christmas, and I just want to get this off my chest because I just want to see what you think about this. Every Christmas, I love a nice pair of tracky bottoms, which I tell myself that they're not tracky bottoms. You just call them lounge pants. It seems to be okay now to say, oh, I'm wearing lounge pants. So every Christmas,
have you given up on that, Jody?
Oh, believe me, I've been like this since I was like 18. So like literally, yeah, exactly. That's when I gave up on life. I have to. It's not going to be the 90s anymore, and I have to leave university. This is not worth it. This is not what I wanted to do. So, but every Christmas I go on a mission to try and find the comfiest tracky bottoms for Libby, because once we had this pair of tracky bottoms. I think I can't remember where we bought them from. It was like Jack Wills or something, and they were amazing. And then Jack Wills turned shit, and everything was like bloody tight fit bullshit. Like you don't want. You just want some nice.
It wasn't, Jody. That's when the
No, it was. It went stupid tight fit fucking tracky bottom. Tight. Like, what's it called? Not tight fit. What's the style? I can't remember. What's Slim. No, well, whatever the stupid fucking Russell brand style bloody pair of trousers that look like they're painted on rather than. Do you know what? Do you remember twisted jeans? Levi twisted jeans.
Yes.
I fucking love those. I absolutely love those.
But they're not baggy.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were baggy. They were quite baggy. Compared with jeans now, like you literally might put denim paint on your bloody legs because you can't get. I loved it when bell bottoms were in, like when we were in when we were like 16, 17, and bell bottoms came back, like the ultimate baggy jean. That was amazing. But I'm
going to move this on before there's too much clothing, because I think.
Okay, go on. Yeah, go on.
Well, I thought we would mention, because I like it when people email in and make an effort.
I do, yeah.
I'm going to mention Oliver. He's the managing director of life insurance brokerage, Caspian Insurance. So, Oliver, why shouldn't Jody wait until he's lost weight to sign up? That's his question. And he's basically said he's pretty sure he can find you cover with gout and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. He remembered them. I think that's like a shout out. Caspian Insurance. So if anyone else out there has gout and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, not the alcoholic one, the non-alcoholic, get in contact with them. But Oliver, we want to know why should Jody not wait?
Non-alcoholic fatty liver disease does sound frightening, doesn't it?
It does.
It does sound frightening. Like as soon as but the doctors don't give a shit. The thing is, this is with the NHS. Doctors, you're like, they don't give a shit about it. But do they not give a shit about it because they know there's no point in they can't do anything about it, and so they're like,
is that the bad AIDS or the good AIDS? Fatty liver disease family.
Okay. It's just so they're so casual about
it. Well, anyway, moving on to, we've had some feedback from people that we're getting into. But one of the things I had asked, and I've got loads of messages on Instagram that I probably need to read out as well. When we spoke to Tim from the lovely foot clinic in Wooga Beluga or Wonga Gonga or wherever it was in Australia, we'd asked why we didn't know of some really good running podiatrists in the UK. And we thought it'd be useful for people to actually tell us who they are so that we can then tell other people in the podcast. So we've had quite a bit of feedback. The first one is, I can't remember who sent this, apologies, but someone called, I was talking to the Run Show about speakers, and one of the people I mentioned, to do that or Run Fest Run, was someone called, have you heard of Emma Kirk Abanudi? She's a foot consultant, a running
Foot consultant, love it. That's what you need. Can you consult about my feet, please? Or just 1 foot, if possible.
The weird thing is, so, we promote her a bit, we give with one hand, we take away with another. Some of the foot consults she does is you can pay to have your gait analysis done online, which seems a bit weird, wouldn't you say?
I do think people are getting away with stuff they're doing online.
Given that every kind of runner's need and all of that.
How do you do a gait analysis online? How does that even work without a treadmill? Yeah,
that's what I'm not sure. So maybe we should get her on to talk about it. Although we wouldn't be able to turn that into an hour-long interview. That would be
but we've just talked about what's it called, tracksuit bottoms, and we span that out into 15 minutes, so we can easily spend that out into an hour.
But I've had some messages from this is the trouble of Instagram. You can't delete messages, can you? I know I've had lots of people tell me, some lovely people who we should be talking to. I'll see if I can dig those out, because there have been some.
Oh, there's been loads. There's been loads, hasn't there? Yes,
mentioned.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And the other thing to notice. Oh no, sorry.
You good?
No, I was going to go on to a different subject, but also related to the fact that we've been given lots of suggestions about it.
Well, if I'll be listening and talking while I'm looking for the messages here. But yes, go hit me with the topic.
No, what I want to say is thank you for everyone that has messaged in, because we've been talking about long COVID and how long and COVID has affected my running, and the fact that I'm really struggling with it, and lots of suggestions, especially people about actually going back to and trying to work on the breathing aspect, and it's something that I've been doing. So thank you, for everyone that suggested that as well. So it's actually something I do, and I have already felt a massive difference in the fact that it's just focusing on basically training how to breathe again, which I would thoroughly suggest. But again, I think we'll put something in the group about this.
Again.
Learning how to breathe again. It's so true, actually.
One of the messages that I've just looked at is someone's just said his dad specialises in chronic fatigue and now leads a long COVID clinic. Should we get him on?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's worth doing.
So what have they done with you with your breathing then?
So everyone's just suggesting I tried different breathing techniques, making sure that you just breathing properly, because I suppose it's your body adapts, doesn't it, to how you end up. So if you're breathing in a really short way, and I suppose and particularly for someone like me who works over a laptop and you're all crunched in and all your muscles in your chest shorten, and it exacerbates my work exacerbates how bad anything to do with my chest is, and shoulders and everything else as well.
Just because you've been sat down so much.
Sat down and crunched over, and I think it's a thing that happens with a lot of writers and people that spend a lot of time on well, that's how I got my hip problem, didn't I? It's my lats, because bloody using a laptop. And so the same thing happens with the chest. And actually, when you take the time to actually breathe properly, like when you're breathing properly and you're inflating your chest, stuff like that, you actually feel like the muscles properly stretching. You realize just how much it's gone in the wrong direction. But yeah, I've just some of the suggestions.
Why don't you get a standing desk?
I did have a standing desk for a long time, and it ended up hurting my back. But it is weird. It's almost what I needed to do was I needed to have treatment to allow me to stand properly. I don't know. There's so many. I think I have a lot of.
So you're not very good at standing.
No, it's true. I'm not even good at lying down. I wake up in the morning. I wake up in the morning. You think lying in bed, you should wake up. I wake up in the morning and I have to crack my back, having been lying down all night. You're like, how? That shouldn't happen.
What's your good position?
My good position is fetal position in that corner, sobbing.
That was that moment when you were 18, wasn't it?
I hit a moment when I was about like 16 and a half where everything was okay. It was bad up to that point, and it's been bad since that point. There was probably an 8-minute window where everything was all right with me.
Now, I thought it'd be quite good, quite interesting. There's a bit of news roundup that we can come back to.
If this is the first episode you've listened to, fucking hell, you've really picked on a bad one.
But I thought because we've been chatting, messaging, a bit of Instagram, a bit of WhatsApp about you've been watching the running channel, and I've actually been watching something called Tin Man Elite that Mike Stocks mentioned in his interview.
Oh, okay.
I think it was Mike. And
what's happened
It's quite interesting to compare both of our views because, just on like online content, how running's changing, like where sponsors' money is, kind of following up on the conversation we had with Holly Rush, where she was ASICS and she had the front runners. She was talking about how athletes don't necessarily get the funding they did before,
they
did before because of influencers. So, and you're talking about the running channel, and then I started watching Tin Man Elite, which is, to me, if I told you that Adidas had sponsored a team, what would that be to you? What would you imagine?
A load of very attractive people wearing Adidas stuff and very barely doing any kind of sport. Is that about it?
No. Although the Tin Man Elite would the Tin Man would suggest potentially. So, from what I can gather, there's a group of international runners who seem to know each other through university or college, and have then decided to move into a house together and form a team, Tin Man Elite, who was sponsored by Adidas. And they've created these little 15-minute episodes where you follow their training a little bit, their running a little bit. And I can't decide what I think about it. And
what was that program where people were living in a house together? What was that called? What was that called? It was on MTV. Was it an MTV show?
Oh, The Real World. The
Real World. That was it. Is it like The Real World, Adidas?
No, it's
someone sleeps with someone else. That's it. Or from a training perspective, someone steals someone else's Strava segment, and there's tension around dinner. That kind of thing. Is that not what it's like? Because that would be good. Well, that would be good if they had that.
That would be good. Well, it's very well filmed, and they'll often.
That's all you need to do. It seems it doesn't matter how shit it is. Just film it well.
But I can't decide if I like it or not, because actually it's quite.
How's it spelled? Tin Man Elite.
Tin Man Elite. Yeah.
That's a shit name. What's that got to do? What does that mean?
But I'm not sure yet. I haven't. I've started series 3, but there's a British guy on it, and I was trying to think, should we get him on or not? Because I don't know whether. Because the good thing is they're really credible runners, and they're following them trying to qualify for Olympics or for the US qualifiers or things along those lines. They talk about the fact they're sponsored now, they talk about elements of that, but then it's only 15 minutes, and within that you've got really cool music where they're running, and so that's like 30 seconds of that 15-minute going just like that. And so it's almost this snapshot without anything to say into it's an authentic snapshot, but it's such a short authentic snapshot into runners trying to be good that it doesn't mean anything.
So is this the equivalent of, and this is on YouTube, is it?
Yeah. I mean, have a look and see what you think. The good things are in 15 minutes.
Is it like Real Buzz? If Real Buzz was a...
No, because these are really good, credible athletes. It's almost as if MTV have made some music videos around running, but it seemed like they did a whole season in 3 15-minute episodes. So you get to know their name, you might get to know one other piece of information about them, and that's it. So and maybe actually it looks like there's a lot of content throughout the series that isn't that, but where they talk about more detailed things. But yeah, it's a very good looking advert style show, but I've tried to look at it with my Golden Trail series hat on, where we're trying to look at stories, we're trying to create really engaging content, and seeing how they've done it, you're like, yeah, that's kind of, I don't think we'd be brave enough to do just a picture of people looking cool and running without really having a narrative to what they're doing in that run specifically.
Yeah.
And they seem okay with that, which, kudos to them. So do-badders, I want to know what people think of it. Like, should we there's a British runner, very good runner, who has been in the house, has been part of this team. Should we get them on to actually hear about the team, and just to get an understanding really of how this sponsorship works, what the structure is, what the pressure is within the team. And because for me, it's a glimpse into what sponsorship will look like in the future, which will also have an impact on which athletes really get funding outside of the British grants. So have a look, do-badders, and message me. Let me know whether you like it, hate it, like indifferent.
I do think
I'll put a poll.
Yes, do a poll. It's been a while, actually.
I wanted doing a poll like who knew that Jody was called 3/4, because I don't think anyone remembers that.
Oh my God! Well, I don't know. Is it a case of like 9 people just are really, really loud about it?
Potentially, yes.
That's the bane of my fucking. They do sites on their description. I think their description is very interesting here. Whether they've done it themselves or whether they've, who's done it. We're not a group, social movement, or track club. That's the first thing they say. It's almost as though they throw in shade on something there. Like it's saying, like, I don't know. Don't you think?
Yeah, I hadn't read that description. Yeah, they are completely. Yeah. They're basically saying we're proper runners.
Yeah, they are.
I like that.
But then it says, but I think it's quite contradictory. It's like we're uncompromising and certain in our values, work to bring out the best, and our goal is to make running accessible. I don't know if you can do the same thing.
Who is
creating fellowship between runners of all abilities? But I think it's very. You're called Tin Man Elite. Like the word elite is in your name. Yeah. Like I don't know. It's not for all levels there, is it?
Who's compromising their values as well? Do you think that's is there another running club where like?
Oh, we compromise our values. Well, yeah, us. We compromise our values all the time. Compromising values is one of our values.
Yeah, but we also compromise on that at times, which we stick by it at other times.
I don't know. Are Adidas a bit of a joke when it comes to sponsorship?
Well, they're not a joke in terms. It depends what you mean by joke. Like they're a joke in terms of what they seem to be doing in supporting good runners. They're not a joke in that being very good at marketing themselves to people that want to wear sports clothing.
Oh no, of course, yeah, of course. Well, they should be. I mean, they're a marketing company, aren't they? Yeah. But they're a joke in terms of like who they align themselves with.
Well, there certainly will be runners who are Olympic level runners who won't be getting funding because of this project. Almost certainly.
Oh yeah.
And I think about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, we talked about how Adidas had pulled their funding from a running club because they were moving it to something like influencer focused things instead. Like, yeah, okay, I hear. But then, that's what they are. That in a way, it's not a surprise, is it? They are
But the
marketing
thing
companies,
is,
you say.
we deride influencers. We talk about influencers, we deride influencers and things like that. But how many people actually want to be influencers? Like even now, how many people want to be influenced? Like I think this would be an interesting poll, because I wonder how honest people are. Like if you could make a living out of being an influencer, as opposed to doing whatever fucking dull, mundane job you're doing right now, it isn't. Which, come on, like 95% of people are not doing a job that they actually want. Like no one actually wants to do a job, do they? Do they?
No. Well, it depends what the job is, but there are some jobs that, yeah.
Managing influencers. If it's managing influencers, I imagine that's very difficult.
Oh yeah.
Difficult ROI on
it's
that
like being
one.
a talent agent, isn't it? Without the talent.
Yeah, without.
That does seem like.
yeah. Right. So, do bad is we're doing the bad boy influencer agency. So, yeah.
You're all in it already. You're all welcome.
You're all in it, and we're taking a cut.
As soon as you hit more than 500 followers, you're out.
It doesn't matter. Look, we're taking a cut of whatever you get, and that's it.
And say you have a beer in a picture. We're just going to say that's advertising. We want to be paid for that.
Yes, we'll assume you've been paid, so you have to pay us.
But so you've been watching the running channel, and the running channel have obviously done amazingly, and their content is really well put together,
incredible.
But what I can't wait for, because the running channel, I think, have done really well in almost positioning themselves in the runner's world, introduction to running level of running, of like how to run a 5K, like how to decide on your shoes.
Well, there's kind of two. I think there's two types of content on the running channel.
Yeah.
There is that content, the runner's world, position yourself, and then there's we're a bit like Top Gear. Let's come up with some funny, crazy challenges, mainly sponsored by Red Bull.
So or Garmin, or they're very good against us. So that's it. So this is what I'm really intrigued by, because they've done all the content already that is obvious content to make, and they're now doing some challenges. Some of them are really fun, but fairly crowbarred the branding in there, which you can understand. But even within that, they're starting to do the obvious challenges you do. And the trouble is, they're getting huge now. So the money behind their sponsorships, I'm sure, will be growing and growing. How are they not going to run out of ideas?
The same could be said of us. The thing is, with some people, do you know, it's one of those things. Do you ever listen to that? I can't remember what's the name of the documentary about Oasis, where they were talking to Liam, and they said, what would have happened? I don't know if it was that. I think it was something that came off after that. And they said, what would have happened if Oasis had broken America? And he said, I'm not going to use the C word, but he said he would have become the most unbelievable C word and out of control. It's like there's certain people you don't want to give a certain amount of riches to. And so I always think
that's the running channel.
No. I'm saying the running channel. I'm saying the running channel is the opposite of us. And we're only talking about this because we're on YouTube a lot more now. And so we're kind of competing for probably not the same.
Why you're watching it? I see.
Well, exactly, research. But it's like they've been given all the cash, but they're sticking to a very narrow band of ideas. We've got all the ideas, and we should never be given the cash to execute those ideas.
And we never will be.
And we never will.
But because they're already, they've expanded quite a lot. They do ultra things, they do product things, they do kind of news things, they do some interviews. Like they really do. But the difference is because Runner's World does some really good pieces, but it still has the bulk of it is almost on that cycle because for the new runner. But the trouble is, it's very hard to do that on YouTube because your content's still there. Whereas with a magazine, it's gone.
Oh yeah,
and
it is. Yeah.
If you slightly rework it in 3 years' time or 2 years' time, it's absolutely fine because no one's going to know.
3 years' time, 8 months' time, more like. Talk about Run as Well.
Come on. Nah. I think we give them a hard time. I think they're
well, do you know what? I have no problem with that. Like, I don't think they're worried about it.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So this is what delights me is in a year's time, like, because Top Gear will stop running, for example, when there aren't enough viewers, but the running channel just seems to be getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So they're not going to get to that point of what ideas do we have now, and that is a bit I look forward to when they're having to do the weirdest stuff to be like, right, what's our idea this week?
But then they don't need to, do they? Because if you've got an old video that is talking about something, it can pick. It's not like, you know, if you've written an article in a magazine and that magazine is always available on the newsstand for you to pick up whenever you want. But YouTube's different. That video,
they're going to be wanting to create more content.
Well, they need to create more content, but that doesn't necessarily mean they need to create the same old content, because that content's just going to be recycled, unless, of course, there's something that they did in that is no longer acceptable to our social norms by that point, where, you know, suddenly, you know, people look down upon you because you're wearing the wrong colour or something like that. Or...
Andy Badley did black up for one of the earlier episodes. I don't think many people have seen that one. I'm not sure if that was published, actually. He told me drunkenly at the running show. We won awards one time, but as so a little bit of news roundup. Something that I thought, which was well, firstly, Parkrun. Can we bother to talk about that? Someone's angry at Parkrun still.
What about what?
It's just they're doing
not still the dog thing.
Yeah, they're going to do their own called Parkrun. Will they do it? Maybe.
Well, that'll last 3 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a good headline, isn't it? But something that we are always...
Ronnie Barker. That's a good name for a dog.
Or just call him Ronnie. Yeah, sorry. It is a good name. Where did that come from? You were right. But there's UK athletics often come up for criticism, especially since they were trying to push off clubs from their board. But this one's a really interesting one. Have you seen about their pressure on athletes to leave their coaches, to do with Darren Nita and the Italian coach called Marco Airelli?
No, explain.
Oh, sorry. No, with... I'll quickly skim read. So basically, there has been a coach, Runner Reader. Runner Reader is a sports coach. They have had accusations of misconduct, should we say?
Right.
So UK Athletics reiterated that athletes working with Ryder would not be supported given confirmed complaints of sexual misconduct against him. So they have said to British athletes that they may remove funding if they don't cut ties with their coach.
Right.
Now, this coach hasn't been found guilty. There hasn't been a formal inquest that's showed anything. He hasn't been arrested. There have been allegations. Now, I, for one, think that we should absolutely protect people, and we should actually absolutely ensure that there are no issues with sexual misconduct in coaches. But to have someone accused and then all of the athletes be threatened with losing their funding if they don't instantly leave someone who's never been found guilty this is not how we should operate.
Wait. But is it one of those situations where people knew stuff? Like, like I think we talked about this, didn't we? Like Noel Clark. When it came out with his bullying allegations, everyone ditched him immediately. It's because everyone knew. Everyone knew, and then they found out. Is this one of those situations?
I don't know enough about Rana to know, actually. If I do a quick Google.
Because that's what, whenever that happened, whenever you think, God, they're ditching that person really quickly without any investigation or stuff like that. And it's normally because they were all in on it, which it makes them guilty.
Yeah. So it's been suggested he had an affair with someone who was 18, and he's early 50s. But still, I absolutely agree with you when Harvey Weinstein, for example, when something like that happened, and there's so many people saying this, and as you say, there is that awareness that it's not a case of will they be found guilty. It's the fact that
it's a certainty, isn't it?
Come up and we've all been waiting, yeah. Whereas but even if someone is found guilty of that, should we not allow athletes to make decisions? I understand if it's to do with doping.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't allow an athlete to work with a coach who is clearly being shown to be advocating doping. But when someone makes a mistake, shouldn't it be down to the athlete to decide who they want to work with?
In principle, absolutely.
So this is what I just find crazy, and to then blackmail them with saying you're going to lose funding. I
think we're moving into a very different era of everything, especially in terms of things like Russia and Ukraine. People are being blacklisted and things like that, because they haven't denounced Putin and things like that. And and you're like, that's that's a really you're policing their thoughts. It's a much more muscular kind of soft power that's been shown in that case. But I don't know. It's really it's like where it's the problem with a all powerful body like that, isn't it?
Yeah,
they're going to throw their weight around.
And actually, to me, it reeks of an organisation that's out of touch, because it feels almost like they got it wrong a few times, and this is they're veering.
That's it. They're veering.
This is hey, no, we're still in touch. What can we do to show this? And they've not actually just thought it through properly. Maybe we should get her on. Actually, that would be a good interview. Right, yeah. I'm going to go and ask her to come on. I think that would be fascinating. Yeah. So I have been messaging Mr. Jones from UTMB, who was talking about clarifying some of the rules for qualifying for UTMB. But he also, in the same message, said, on a side note, they've got an expo village, and would Caffeine Bullet be interested in having a stand? Space is £50 per square metre. Now, I was wondering, should I just take 1 square metre at an exhibition?
I think if you quote in those as a thing, if you quote in that way as rate card, then you shouldn't be allowed to not offer that as an option. Because if they'll go, oh, it's £50 per square metre or whatever. Oh, but you have to, all stands are at least 10 square metres and stuff like that. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to quote. You have to quote. You have to accept the. If you're going to quote in that, you have to accept things like that. I think you should. I think you should take 1 square metre. What will you do with that square metre?
I mean, I'd stand.
It's a giant Caffeine Bullet dispenser.
Yeah, I could put.
But with you stuck in it like Augustus Gloop, like, go, please. Or we put random. Oh my God, this would be brilliant. We put random athletes in it, and the more Caffeine Bullet you eat, you buy, it uncovers the elite athletes, and then you get to have photos with them.
Or a naked athlete covered in caffeine bullets, like the old nuts used to get down the local boozer, where you peel away the clothing.
Oh my God.
So that was just something that occurred to me.
Like the nuts. Yeah, that's
something to potentially do.
my God.
But also, I talked last time about something Bruno had sent me, and
Oh God.
it's not bad.
It wasn't a female voodoo doll with a nail through it, was it, or something?
It wasn't. It said all women on it, on the doll. Now, this is another person I thought would be good to interview. They've not responded, actually. And so, how do you think most countries view the Commonwealth Games?
With utter disdain. Surely the whole reason the Commonwealth Games exists is so we can give it to some shitty city in the UK to host it. That's the whole point of the Commonwealth Games, isn't it? Isn't that why it exists? So we can give it to fucking Hull or somewhere like that.
I mean, it's funny you say that because...
Oh no, where is it being held now? Because the thing is, when it's abroad, it's in some lovely city and stuff like that. But when it comes here, we're like, London never has it, Edinburgh never has it. They just give it to, it's fucking in Rochdale or Wolverhampton or something, isn't it? That's...
So it's in Birmingham this time.
Oh my God! Like it's not if I can prove. Oh my God! Those poor people from around the world who are going to have to congregate in Birmingham.
There must be some country that flies direct to Birmingham. They never get any experience of anything other than roundabouts and weird accents. But so the Canadian team have been given qualifying standards, and typically you'd have, say you had the Olympics, you'd have two sets of qualifying standards, like a B set and A set, and there are some races where they're called golden tickets, where you have someone who, everyone's allowed one runner if your country can afford it. Yeah. And other ones where if you set a certain time, you're guaranteed. So the Canadians have been given their qualifying times and their qualifying distances that they need to hit to receive automatic qualification for their team. So basically to be funded.
Right.
And have we talked about this, or have I?
Oh, no, I don't remember talking about this.
Good. So,
unless this is denim related.
It's not. It could be. Maybe linked to the budgets. But what would you say a reasonable marathon qualifying time would be for someone from Canada, which is, I'd say most of Canada's not in Kenya or Ethiopia. For a country like Canada, what would you think a realistic expectation for someone to get good enough to be like, okay, we'll pay for you to go to the Commonwealth Games?
Oh, okay. That was my Olympic expert. I have no idea. 2:15.
So for the marathon, women's is 2:18.
Right.
Men's is 2:04.
2:04?
Yeah.
From Canada?
Yeah.
How many people in Canada have done that?
That's a good question. It wouldn't surprise me if that's the national record. But 2:09.
2:09 is what the fastest person from Canada's run. You've got to beat the national record by 5 minutes.
Ridiculous. And like for women,
I take it they're low on funds.
Well, this is why I wanted to interview her, because Melinda Elmore is the person who shared it. She's the Canadian record holder at 2:24, and she needs a 2:18 to get funding.
It's not even close, is it?
Yeah, I mean and I'm not sure whether it's a lack of caring or just they're reprioritizing, or if they are that broke. But that to me is a real shame. If the Commonwealth Games, if you listen to Holly Rush when she went, it's such an amazing time, and there's lots of athletes that go to Commonwealth and have such an incredible experience. It's something to really strive towards and does inspire people. I mean, no one from Kenya is going to go to Birmingham otherwise, are they? But yeah, they clearly
maybe it's their polite way. All the athletes got together and they were just like, just make the qualifying times really fucking difficult. So we've got an excuse not to go to Birmingham.
Yeah, maybe that's what they heard. But like for the 100 meters, it's 9.92 for the men's, 10.84 for the women's. But these are all like for the 800s, 143, 1500, 330. These times are insane. So I really wanted to highlight that firstly, to hear if anyone else listening knows of other countries where they've got such strong, if they've clearly just turned around and said, we don't want to go, but not admitted to it. And also, I'd love to know as well, so I've not got a response from her, maybe a message again from Melindy, but I'd just love to understand someone where, if you think about when the World Trail Championships were delayed for a second year, and Francesca Papi was saying, like, this is our livelihood, this is how we attract sponsors, this is how we get eyeballs on our Instagram, this is how we get followers. So is this just denying Canadian athletes an opportunity to actually get funding, to actually justify sponsors? And is this actually going to potentially damage Canadian runners and Canadian athletes in general? And how does that sit within people's, how they then see the Commonwealth Games? I'd love to know. So if anyone out there has a view on this from an athletics, from a pro athlete or from a association point of view, I'd love to hear it, because I just think that's so sad.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It does feel as though that there is another agenda going on there.
Yeah, completely, massively. Well, I think we've had a nice little bit of do-baddery. We haven't talked about Snatch yet. That is to come. Oh, should we finish on some Snatch?
Oh no, let's not. I'm about to have a Chinese. Let's not talk about that. Give a wave. Okay. Look, I'm going to do this. Look, I'm going to wave this. Do a wave for social media. Like this is. There we go. I mean, I could have done this after we did the interview, but no, don't do that.
Well, let's do the Snatch thing anyway. But thanks for listening, guys. We, if you've got any suggestions for guests, then message me, david@badboyrunning.com, or messages on Instagram. I'm still yet to. We haven't interviewed anyone this week. We've got no one scheduled. We've got no one scheduled lined up, just because I have really not had internet and been behind. So I'm going to start responding to everyone now. The ideas, get them this way.
Make sure that if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe to the channel to make sure you get all the latest Bad Boy Running, bad stuffs and interviews. If you want to join the Facebook group and start the conversation there, head over to Facebook, type in Bad Boy Running Podcast, answer 3 questions. And if you want to buy merch, head to store.badboyrunning.com.
And YouTubers, comment what is the worst city in the UK that we could have the Commonwealth Games at.
What would be the best city to have? What would be the type of city that people would fly in from all over the Commonwealth, and they would just get the worst snapshot of the UK if they had an airport there and they landed there?
I think they've nailed it already, haven't they? I think that was there.
Do you think we're all going to stay at the Ibis Birmingham Airport like we did? You'll have entire athletics teams stuck between the door, what's it called, the stairwell and the lift, because all the cards don't work. Classic.
But something I'm going to announce now that I think, hopefully timing wise, won't let it out. There might be a Mr. Mo Farah coming to the Run Show South.
Oh.
Wow, right. Ding dong. Ding dong. We'll leave it on that. Do badders, do review us. It helps. Go onto Spotify, review on your phone. It really helps us there. Leave us a love review and we'll read out the reviews. Especially the sillier, the more fun, the better. And thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next time.
See you later.